Hey, this is Josh McEwen here with episode 8 of Dufferin Spotlight on Business, where we bring your community to you by letting you know what's in the area, while highlighting the advantages of shopping local. This week we are joined by Joan Hope, the owner of Dragonfly Arts on Broadway, which is located at 189 Broadway in Orangeville. When one goes into Dragonfly Arts, they can expect to see one-of-a-kind artistic pieces in a variety of mediums. This includes paintings, jewelry, metalwork, pottery, glass pieces, and so much more. Honestly, there is something for everybody. You can even get pieces commissioned. In addition to this, you will quite likely get a background on the artist or even meet them. The first time I went into Dragonfly was pretty much just me wandering in after I had some amazing grilled cheeses from Fromage, and after meeting Faye, who you'll probably be lucky enough to meet too when you go to Dragonfly. She gave me a tour, and after this, one of the artists happened to come in. This artist was Rosemary Armstrong, and she treated me to a conversation where I actually got to learn all that goes into the different styles of paintings, and I actually learned some pretty cool techniques that I never would have thought of. It was an experience that I definitely appreciated, as I learned quite a bit, and I had a good time as well. When I say that I appreciated this, it means something. I'm colorblind and I failed art in high school, and that's a class I actually went to. You probably did better than that, and your eyes might actually work, so you can appreciate what Dragonfly has to offer even better than I can. Speaking of eyes, there's so much you will never see on a screen, no matter the quality of camera. This is especially true for art. It is something you can't truly experience unless it is in person. Anyways, I know I did a long intro for this one, but this one really got me, and I think you would be losing out if you didn't take a good look at what Dragonfly has to offer. Seriously, the holidays are coming up and you should treat yourself. Unlike a lot of things these days, whatever you get from Dragonfly will be something that you can keep and appreciate forever. So I'll repeat, they are located at 189 Broadway in Orangeville, and they have a Facebook page and a website, dragonflyarts.ca. Big thanks to Joan for her time. I'm glad we had the opportunity to learn more about the business. To the audience, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Dufferin Spotlight on Business. So it's Josh McEwen here with Dufferin Spotlight on Business, and I'm joined here by Rob Bailey.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing good today. We're lucky enough to have Joan Hope here from Dragonfly Arts on Broadway. If you'd like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, that'd be great.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy always to talk about the arts, so go ahead.
Great. Can you just give us a brief explanation on your business?
We have a large store and we celebrate the arts in Canada. Everything there is made in Canada and it's all handmade. In the back area, there's a studio set up and we've got 4 studio artists who come and work there and sell their work from there.
That's awesome.
And in the far back, I share the studio with Beth Grant and we make glass beads. So after we make the glass beads, we make it into jewelry or pate knives or things like that. So in the front, the gallery is made up of paintings, pottery, jewelry, blown glass, turned wood, all sorts of really interesting things.
Yeah, I've seen it. You have something for everybody in there. There's a wide variety.
I hope so.
And I mean, from what I understand, you make all the glass beads on site. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Beth and I do.
It's a pretty cool process. Like, if you haven't been in there yet, you should really get in there to see that because it's pretty cool.
Most Saturdays, Beth's in there making beads, and many of the other artists are painting their little hearts out. So it's a lot of fun. There's high energy and interesting things going on. You can talk to the artists and often get something made just for you.
Wow. That's so awesome. I mean, like, there's not many places that provide that opportunity to get to chat with local artists. Like, I know I was in there. I got to chat with Rosemary Armstrong. Mm-hmm. It was great. Like, I mean, it's an experience I've never had before, and I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't wander into Dragonfly.
I'm really glad to hear that. Sometimes I take it for granted, but it is amazing, and there's lots of opportunity if somebody wants to talk about it. I get to see artists every day, so it's really kind of cool.
It is. Like, I think everybody would benefit. Like, I pretty much failed art in high school. I'm colorblind. It's just not my thing, but I really do feel like I benefited from talking with her and talking with you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a really good experience. I think everybody should get in there and just experience it because, I mean, it will make your life a little bit better.
Thanks, Josh. Looks like I made a conquest, huh?
Yeah.
It's true. It's 100% true.
There's not an abundance of places where you can just go in and talk to local artists and learn like that as well, right?
Renowned artists, too. Yeah. Like, they're...
Oh, yeah. We have some amazing artists. And often... not only the studio artists, but the other artists will come in for various things, and it's pretty good.
That's awesome. And you have so many different mediums in there, right? Like, there's pottery, glass, paintings, all different kinds of paintings as well. It's pretty awesome, and you have some pretty beautiful pieces in there. It's really nice. There's not too many places you can find something like that to that quality and for a reasonable price as well.
I try to be careful with the costs, for sure.
They're very reasonable from what I've seen.
Yeah.
For those beautiful paintings, are you kidding me? Those are very reasonable priced.
And the thing is, too, every artist creates their own price, and there are some who are just starting out, and so they're very reasonable, and there are some who are at their apex of their careers, and they're more expensive, but well worth it.
Something for everybody. That's awesome. So what would you say are your most popular products and services?
The jewelry is very popular.
Yeah, I can see why.
We have probably about 20 Canadian jewelry designers, and what woman doesn't need another pair of earrings or maybe a little ring or something?
Especially something that had the thought and care put into it that you guys put into your jewelry.
Thank you for noticing. Yeah, absolutely.
It's handmade, and that's pretty rare, especially to the quality, and getting it locally made.
Yeah.
It's not handmade in some third world country. It's made here by
That's
people
right.
that are paid properly.
That's right. Thank you for noticing. Yeah.
So for any gentlemen in trouble out there that are listening, you could probably get yourself a nice one-of-a-kind gift that might get you out of trouble.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Pottery is really popular. I think I've sold so many mugs I can't count. But even bowls and lovely salad bowls and things like that. A lot of wedding shopping goes on in the shop. We've even done wedding registries where someone has chosen pieces and then we just keep them aside, and when their guests come in we get to sell it to them, so that's nice. Services, I think that's one of the biggest things for Dragonfly because we give customer service.
Yes, and that's what keeps local business alive. That's
Yeah,
how you managed to survive for so long.
I think so. And so there's a lot of commissioning of different things. So someone will come in with a portrait commission for one of our painters, or someone will come in and ask for a whole series of bowls to be made, or a purse in this color or that color, or things like that. So there's lots of ways that we can accommodate people's requests. It's really nice to be able to put a customer to an artist.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, even to be able to go into somewhere and actually talk directly to someone and get a custom piece of artwork, that's it's awesome.
And actually meet the artist, and it's a pretty rare opportunity. So where do you think most of your competition comes from?
It's hard to know what competition is because my pieces are so unique. So I don't really know who I'm competing with. You know, in a sense, there's online shopping, and I think that for customers' dollars, if they've shopped online, then they're not shopping locally. That's one of my concerns. But I think we compete quite well with the city prices.
Well, the thing is, when you put an artist in your store, or for any store that matter, when you put a product in your store, you're kind of standing behind that product.
Most definitely.
When you go into an online store, whether it's Amazon or any of these other guys, you don't know what you're getting. These guys, they're not standing behind those products. They'll help you if you have an issue. But I mean, you really don't know what you're getting, especially with electronics. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the most common thing on there. But no, at least when you go into your store, you stand behind those artists. And it's not just some random person off the internet who, again, you don't know where they're from, what their story is, and how good they are.
And of course, most people like to touch and feel
That
the
too.
products that we have. So it's not really a competition, but all that to say, if someone is spending $100 at Christmas and they spend it online instead of in a bricks and mortar store, that's
Money is leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably not coming back either. That's the worst part. That sound indicates a commercial break. We're new, so we'll just take this time to let you know what Dufferin Spotlight actually does. Each week, we will be releasing a new episode of our show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business, which will feature a discussion with business leaders from around Dufferin County regarding their businesses and accomplishments. The achievements of small business leaders largely go unnoticed, but it is our goal to highlight and recognize them, as these are the people who keep small communities like ours alive. In addition to bringing more attention to the businesses in Dufferin, we will share the advantages of shopping local, so be sure to check back each week to see the amazing things people are doing through their businesses. To find out more about what we do, and to stay updated on the other shows we will be producing, be sure to check us out at dufferinspotlight.ca.
I think you touched on this already, but what do you think makes you different from the competition?
Oh, I think it's like Josh said, customer service.
Customer service?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Customer service is always number one.
Yeah, for sure. And we stand behind it. Because I know all of the artists personally, I know what they can and can't do to a certain extent. And so it's easy to sort of steer someone in one direction when they're looking for something special.
And that's another big thing too. When you have somewhere to go where you can get good knowledge from someone, it's a great thing to have because like we were saying with the online too, I mean, reviews do help, but if you can't look at it, you can't see it, and your gallery has several different artists in there that you can talk to, look at, and see the work.
And also, I have to say, I've been in the arts for some time now in this area, and so I know a lot of the artists out there. If they're not here in my store, if I know that the customer needs what they provide, I'll just pass them on to them. And there's lots of things that if I don't have it, I'll send them down to who I know will have it, like glass craft or different things like that. So it's full service.
Awesome. That seems to be a big thing in the art community too, right? Like it is a community, even though there's competition, you always want the customer to be happy, and you're sending them to who
Where I
could
think
provide
they-
the
yeah.
best work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That shows you once again about the customer service, right?
Yeah, and I mean, your passion for the community only helps the artists as well, right? You were saying you kind of help steer them towards the ones that need them. You also don't steer people that don't need their services, which they probably would get on their own if they were open to the public. Like, you really are providing a service for the artists as well.
I hope so.
Yeah, because I mean,
hope so.
it's not easy out there. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's not too many venues. And I mean, you're creating an opportunity for these guys, and it's
Yeah.
working out for everybody.
Yeah, a lot of local artists take advantage of our feature wall,
Yes.
which is great. I have a one-man show behind the counter. It's the first thing you see when you walk into the store, and it's a large quantity of their work. So, as I say, many of them take advantage of that, or the window on Broadway where I have a one-man show with the artists. They, again, can show a lot of work and a wide variety of their pieces. So, and that's, every 3 weeks. It changes.
The window is well known.
Yeah, oh, good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I knew it beforehand, but I mean, even Irene called it out on the tour.
Oh, good.
Like, for Savor the Flavors, like,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
well
nice.
known.
Yeah.
So what do you think customers should look for when doing business with somebody in your profession?
Honesty, integrity,
Knowledge, probably,
knowledge.
too.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, because, I mean, you want to make sure what you're getting is what you pay for and the quality and everything else.
Yep.
And like we said before, you stand behind the people that sell the
Yeah.
products in your store.
That's right.
That does help, because again, there's tons of places online where you can get handmade stuff. Not that
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're doing at all, but I mean, like, there's places like Etsy and all that. Like, that's not what you guys are. You guys are an art gallery. You guys
Mm-hmm.
have real pieces.
Well, not to knock Etsy. Some of our artists do sell on Etsy as well.
Yes.
It's really hard to make a living as an artist, period.
Yeah.
Many of them have to do whatever they can in as many markets as they can to make a full living.
Oh yeah,
It's really sad.
I'm not knocking Etsy.
Yeah.
Etsy, it's a great thing. It provides a service for many great artists. It's just that there's so much on there, and you have to distinguish the good from the bad, and that's one of the benefits of going into your store.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that's true. Yeah.
That
for
is,
sure.
and I think that's something people should look for.
But once again, with all the artists in there, and including yourself, helping each other as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome when you have a community in there, just in your gallery alone, right? So
You know,
That's
it
true.
really is nice when we're all in there together. There's a good energy, and one artist will be struggling with a part of their canvas, and they'll say, "What do you think?" to one of the others, and they'll go, "Well, why don't you just put something right there?" And they go, "Eureka, that's perfect." So it's lovely that they all work together as well. And yeah, I've noticed some nice exchanges.
help
with
each
the
other
artists.
through the painter's block, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly right.
Where else in Dufferin do they have that opportunity? Like, really? Like, there's not too many places.
I think in Alton Mill they have studios. It's not quite as open as ours, but for sure they have studios there that the artists collaborate, I'm sure.
That's good. Well, I mean, locations are few and far between, and I mean,
For sure.
we're lucky to have you.
Many artists groups get together. There's the Orangeville Art Group, for instance, and Dufferin Arts Council, etc. And they all will have classes or things like that. Maggioli has classes,
Yeah.
and that's a great spot to talk with other artists and
Oh, yeah?
other people painting. Oh, absolutely.
Cool. I'm glad that there's an actual, a ripe community.
But
That's
you're
great.
right. It's few and far between.
It is. And I mean, we need to help keep these places going, because I mean, once you lose them, it's hard to get them back.
Would you like to mention any family or friends?
Well, my friend Martha Pockle was the one who owns the building, and she's the one who started all of this. She said, let's do something nice for the artists of the area. I was part of a studio tour back in the 80s, and so she thought we could do something together to help the artists of the area, and that's how Dragonfly got started.
Can I ask what
Back
the
in
studio tour was?
2002. Studio tours are still around, and there are many of them. The fall is when they all start happening as well. So the studio tour is generally meant to be a tour where you go to someone's studio, you see their work, their workspace, and you buy a piece. Or sometimes you go to one place where there's a few artists all showing their work, and you get to talk to the artist. And so those studio tours happen once a year. And my feeling was that wasn't really enough.
Yeah.
Once a year you might miss people or whatever. So that's why having a full-time studio tour where you get to meet the people and the artists and see a lot of different works made sense to me.
Yeah, some would perceive as a pretty high barrier to entry as far as getting into the arts and going to see a studio tour, especially when you have to coordinate the time to such a limited time frame, right? You provide that year round.
Sure,
And
that's
you
right.
make it more accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that is a big benefit. That is something that we didn't have before, and that's a problem you did solve.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how about that? Yeah, that's right.
Hey, it's Josh with another commercial break. Still no real ads, but I just thought I'd let you know that I don't know my passwords. That stops me from writing them down, sharing them, or worst of all, reusing the same password for my banking, email, and on that weird website that I'll never return to that will most likely be breached next month. This keeps me secure while making my life more convenient. To figure out how you can do the same, be sure to check out the articles on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. Now back to the show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business. When you were younger, did you think you'd be doing this?
When I was younger, I always did something with my hands, and, whether it was painting or drawing or making things with plasticine. So I knew that art would be a part of my life. No, I didn't realize I was going to be selling art.
But I guess the passion was always there to...
Yeah, for sure.
I know you focus on glass, but I mean, you do just in your free time, like painting and all that? Wow, that's pretty cool. How'd you get into all it? Like, you just jumped into it?
Well, as I say, I think kids start drawing and painting when they're young and get encouraged for it, and so they just keep going. But I've always had the urge to do something, and lots of people will decorate their homes or paint interesting colors in their homes, and that's part of a creative artist as well. So.
Yeah.
So for sure, I did that. I guess my parents took me to art classes because that was my interest, and it wasn't skating or dancing or something like that. It was art. So that, and then at university, I took psychology and fine art. So,
psychology too? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, nice. That's cool.
Well, at the time, I thought it was a really great idea because art therapy, but art therapy didn't exist yet. It didn't. So I finished off the degree in psychology.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Wow. I love psychology.
It's part of everyday life, and it's just understanding ourselves and our friends and neighbors. I mean, that's what life's all about.
Exactly. So what was your first job?
After university, I went straight to Lakeshore Psychiatric Hospital, where I was part of a team where we were allowing the patients to work with clay and do drawings and different things in order to express their feelings.
Oh, yeah?
So it was very interesting. Shortly after that, Lakeshore closed down. So
I'm sure that would help finding out a lot about people, though, right?
Sure does, yeah. And acceptance of differences.
Seeing different points of view.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, in that situation, too, I'm sure there was a lot of people that maybe couldn't exactly come out and say how they feel as well, right? So
100%,
art might have been the only way that they could come across, and someone who needs to see it can see what's going on.
I believe strongly that it's a really important way of getting to know people and getting them to know themselves.
Yeah, and something as creative as that too, right? Like, you're not going to have two alike. Everyone, you'll see what that person's interests are, and
well, some of it was just process, frankly. There was no finished piece at the end of it. It was just getting their feelings out and talking at the same time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, sometimes it's really hard for certain people to express themselves, right? And sometimes they can only do that through art. But, I mean, if at least art gets them talking and helps them and kind of gets their mind moving, that can be a big benefit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially with something like talk therapy, you have to talk. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that's
not be able to, yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas, yes. Yeah, there's lots of ways of getting around it.
Did you start by or inherit this business?
So Martha had the impetus to do this, and I was eager to help her. And so we pretty much started it with some collaboration from other artists in the area. And then we did it, and Martha worked for a few years and decided she wanted to work in her pottery. So I said, I'd like to keep going. So she allowed me to do that. And so that was, as I say, 2002, and we've been there ever since. And it was great having Martha starting up because she did the books and got all that organized.
That helps.
Yeah, and hard for a lot of people to get into, right? Starting a business.
That's right. And as you say, it's very hard to start a business. And I don't mean to say that this was easy, but because artists were putting their work on consignment, which means they only got paid once the piece sold, it meant that we didn't have to go and buy inventory.
Yes.
So it meant a very sweet, shallow climb.
Yeah.
And
I think that's really been a benefit to everybody, though, because, I mean, it helps build a better partnership, realistic prices, everyone's kind of invested in making the business succeed.
I like that idea, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and to add on that too, I mean, it's not always easy for artists to get their work out there as well. Like, there's a lot of competition, especially in the online market. Like you said too, if you go to online, you don't have that there to look at, feel, and really visualize the piece of art as a whole, right?
And screens aren't really color accurate. You need to actually see the art, see the artwork to actually judge it, really.
Oh, so many problems with that. You're right.
Yeah, 100%. You look at a picture on a phone screen, it's going to look a lot different if you put it on a TV.
Well, and then when it goes to the paintings too, right? Texture, like a lot of it's the different textures in there. You're not going to get to see all that through a picture. So
yeah, I know it's some of the paintings I saw. Some of the greatness of it would be lost online. 100%, 100%. Even a photo wouldn't be able to capture it all.
I know you mentioned Martha. Did you have any other partners or?
Yeah, Martha and I pretty much worked at it for, as I say, solidly for 3 or 4 years, solidly. And then when she left, I was left well enough to take it on myself. But, all of the artists that are at Dragonfly help out with, decisions and things like that. I mean, I'm still ultimate decision maker, but I ask their advice all the time.
No, it's nice. And I've talked with more than one. They all seem to respect your judgment.
That's nice. Thank you.
They really do.
Well, like you're saying earlier too, like it'd be the same as with the artwork, right? Like sometimes it's nice to have a different, fresh opinion to come in too, because
That's right.
Everyone doesn't think the same. So I mean, to have a room full of artists, you're pretty lucky to have all those colorful opinions.
That's true.
Well, I listen to my customers too there.
Yeah.
Because they often have good advice as well.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing, like you said earlier too, because customer service and taking that feedback and actually doing something with it. A lot of people don't do that, or they take it in the wrong way, but if you can take it as a helpful thing, and it goes a long way, right? Because that's what they want to see when they come through the door.
I try to. That's right. Yeah, that's really good advice.
Hey, it's Josh again with another commercial break. On top of that, knowing my passwords, I also don't pay for antivirus programs like Norton, Kaspersky, or McAfee. Despite this, I feel safer than if I did have them. To see why, check out the articles on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. Now back to our show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business. So, did you have any major investors, or was credit and financing available to you? I know inventory expenses weren't super high, thankfully to the consignment model you had, which I think is great.
Yep. So it wasn't necessary, no. I think we were very lucky. I think Orangeville embraced us from the beginning, from the start, partly because there wasn't anything like that.
One of a kind,
And, we offered a wide variety. So, I think Orangeville really did embrace us from the start, and we were pretty lucky. We didn't need investors or something like that.
That's good, because you see sometimes investors flock to the art world for the wrong reasons.
Oh.
And it's just, for them, it's a place to park money.
I've heard that.
So, it's just...
See, we're not big enough for that.
Thankfully.
Yeah. If I had $40,000 paintings, then they'd be parking their money, but no.
No, but it's better, I think, this way. It's more authentic.
It is.
And you have the artist doing it for the right reasons, too. And it's again, just not viewed as an investment, it's viewed as a piece of art.
Well, that's the thing, you're getting the art to a person who's going to actually appreciate it compared to someone that's going to put it up on their wall because of what it is, right? So
there's plenty of corporate buildings with expensive paintings that nobody ever looks at, and people forget about.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's horrible. So, we're lucky that there's a place like Dragonfly Arts where people can go in and see art, and it's actually being used for a good purpose. Like, it really does help the community.
If I could ask, what was your biggest challenge in starting this business?
Well, cold calling artists, because if I had a gap, let's say I wanted different pottery or something like that, then I'd say, oh, I really like this potter. Why don't I go talk to them, see if they're interested in putting their work on consignment in my store? And that was really tough.
I never even thought about that.
Because you'd have to go down and say, yes, I'm trustworthy. You can put your work in my store and I won't run away with it, because apparently, there's not great reputations out there in some cases, and
I wouldn't have thought of that scam, but
yeah,
it's a scam to run.
It's not a scam or anything. I'm sure that people have the best of intentions and then they just run out of money. But recently, one of our artists lost 8 pieces in something like that, a gallery that went under and blah, blah, blah. So that was challenging, but I think we've built a reputation now, so it's...
Yeah, and that seems like it'd be a hard thing to build at first. Like you said, I can't imagine having to go to people and say, this is what I'm trying to start, and because a lot of people have a hard time trusting people. So.
Well, yeah, and especially jewelry. You know, that's a lot of hard-earned money sitting in a store that they've got to feel good about me presenting their work. They've got to feel good about me putting the best spin on their precious work.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that either. Like one person's idea of presenting something might not be exactly the same as the artist per se, right? So I guess that'd be a big thing too.
Well, sure. If somebody entrusts me with their precious artwork and I put it on the bottom shelf, that's not good.
No.
So everyone's got to have a turn at eye level.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing with what you're doing as well, right? Like, especially with a reputation now. Like, if you're doing something that isn't benefiting that piece of art per se, then you wouldn't have the reputation that you have, right? Because...
Fair enough, yeah.
I take it for granted. Like, I walk in your store and you're so well established and you guys have your reputation, but I mean, you built that. That didn't happen day one. Like, I never thought, like, yeah, you would have had to call out artists and they would have had to trust you with their work to hold on to it. Like, that wasn't easy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can only imagine. But,
yeah.
Wow. Trying to source the artists, which, I mean, you go in there now, you have a wide variety. And, I mean, again, it's obviously built up over the years. But, I mean, starting off, that would have been tough.
Well, it was exciting as well. Yeah. So that makes up for how tough it was. But for sure, it's exciting to source out. And, I mean, as I say, I'd been in the art world for a while, and I'd certainly been to lots of craft shows and things like that. So I kind of knew what I wanted.
Awesome. Yeah, probably had a couple people in mind.
For sure. Number one was Richard Fisher, and he's way down in Dundas, Ontario, but he's the one that has those beautiful dragonflies on his pottery. So he was the number one.
Yeah, he's the go-to.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for those starting their own business?
Honesty and integrity.
Yeah.
Trust people. And I think that I do trust people. So whether it's right or wrong, I think that's great.
Well, I mean, your business was built on trust.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Just what we were saying.
So, I mean, that completely makes sense. And, I mean, there are so many people that think they have to take shortcuts and do that at the beginning. But, I mean, you've obviously shown that you don't have to do that. You can build up a reputable business that has a strong presence in the community by doing it the right way.
Especially for a local business, too, that has constant local traffic going through. If you don't build yourself a strong name, then people are eventually going to stop coming. So,
especially in your line of work.
Well, like we said, too, as it being a community, when the word gets out, then everyone hears. Yeah, so no, for sure, you'd have to be pretty trustworthy to be in your position.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, it's paid off for you. It's because, I mean, you do have a great reputation, and I mean, everyone knows Dragonfly art. I mean, there might be the people that don't know what's on Broadway, but the people that actually do pay attention to what's on Broadway, they know.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for expansion at this point?
Bottom line is no, but it did strike me at one point because we were asked by Blue Mountain.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they said, hey, you have a nice little place there. Would you like to come up and, have an extension, Dragonfly North or something? So I looked into it, and oh my goodness, it was beyond what I could feel comfortable doing. So no, that kind of scared me away from any kind of expansion.
Well, we've talked about this in past episodes. Like, when you start splitting your responsibility between two different spaces, quality inevitably on one is probably going to go down. It's not like they can clone you.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree. A lot of it is, what I bring to the table. And Blue Mountain was tempting, but...
it would be.
Well, yeah, it's a beautiful place. But
yeah.
A lot of people would be tempted by it. I mean, it says a lot for your business acumen that you were smart enough to turn that down, because I think a lot of people would have chomped on that, and they would have made a big mistake.
So no plans for expansion, although I would love to have another space. And right now, the gallery part is doing very well, and I'd love to have more space for painters. We have a lot of painters in this area, and I only have a month to give them a full show. Or, whereas I would like to have maybe 5 paintings from each of them on display at all times. I mean, most of my customers know that they can say, oh, I like this painter. What else do they have? And I can show them other pieces or talk to them about what size and shape they want and find out from the artist what else is available. Yeah, so I'd love to have more on display. But that's just pie in the sky because, rents being what they are, I can't imagine that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, like when it comes to brick and mortar stores, I mean, and it doesn't seem like rent's going down anytime soon, so just keeps on going up and up.
I think Orangeville's just being, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even across the board, most places are pretty crazy for rent, and it's hard for small businesses, especially when you're competing against online and stuff like that, once again, you're not maybe getting the quality, or you're not getting the chance to see it, or in your case, I mean, with having that many artists and just that much knowledge in the store, but it's hard to be on the same price point as well, right? When someone else isn't having to pay for that brick and mortar every month.
Aren't having to pay staff to run the store. It's all expenses. Hey everyone, this is our last commercial break. If you made it this far, thank you, and I have to assume you found this interesting. To keep up to date with new episodes, be sure to follow or subscribe to us on your preferred listening channel. We are available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can find all of our shows and more on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. If we are not already on your preferred platform, be sure to let us know through our website, and we will do our best to get on it. We prioritize accessibility to our shows, so we will do our best to make it happen. That's it for commercials, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Dufferin Spotlight on Business. So, have you exceeded your original goals?
Yes.
Yeah?
When Martha first came to me, I said, oh, sure, we'll do that for a couple of years. So to be here for 17 years, yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
That's so awesome. Is this what you originally pictured, like the store? Because, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Well, when we started it, sure. I always thought that when you talk to the artists themselves, you get appreciation and understanding.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted that to be a part of it. I want people to have beautiful things for themselves and for their houses. What I didn't expect was people would buy gifts. So there has to be some lower price points so that people can buy gifts. But, in general, I want people to have beautiful things to use in their kitchen, or beautiful things on their walls, or things like that.
The jewelry.
And the jewelry, yeah. I kind of love jewelry myself, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, especially...
It's a little tiny piece of art, no matter what. So...
and it's functional.
Yeah. Well, more decorative, really, Josh.
I don't know. I sorry.
It does provide a function, but...
It solves a problem sometimes.
Back to your story.
I didn't actually mean that, but I mean, it can help with all sorts of things. I didn't actually mean that, but yes, that is a problem it may solve sometimes.
Either way, it's great to have somewhere like that where someone could come in and, pick themselves up something unique that means something to them.
Yeah.
Speaking to the person that made it.
And that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Or, as I said, I have made jewelry and done leather work and different things, so I have an understanding of most of the crafts that I have in there. So if somebody is interested, even if they aren't sometimes, I'll tell them how it's made. And I just think that's brilliant, because then they have a better understanding and they have the story behind the piece. Many of our painters are award winners, and one recently got an award, an international show in Russia. She won third prize. How wonderful is that? So if I can tell someone that, it just really helps the customer understand what they're getting. So
Yeah, I mean, I got to learn how beads were made. I mean, that was amazing to me. Like,
nobody thinks about it.
No.
Nobody thinks about it.
I never would have thought it started off like, as a rod, right? And then it gets melted down, I believe is the proper term, and then into a glass bead. And I mean, the fine motor skills to do that, man. I mean, I definitely do not have them. It's pretty impressive. Never mind I never even thought that's where they came from.
Yeah.
A lot of time and practice, I'm guessing.
Well, it's not as hard as you think, but some people will never get it. But as you say, with a bit of determination and steady hands, it's a pretty fast learning curve, and then you get to start playing with different styles and things like that. So
It's so cool, because there was a little... You showed me what they were at. I'm sorry.
the Marini?
Yeah, the Marini.
Yeah. So Marini, it's hard to explain what that is, but it could be a flower or a star or something like that. And it's a little round chip that you can insert into your glass bead. And it's made by, various different artists. It's a specialty thing to make.
Yes.
And it's just fascinating to see it, because it's a little miniature, beautiful piece of art.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You should really come into the store and check it out, because I mean, as you've mentioned, it's very hard to describe. Like, it's something you really have to see, and it's so cool, the process, and just I mean, you explained it to me. It's pretty interesting.
Easier to do in person, you're right.
Yeah, we don't offer the proper place for that.
With visuals, yes, with visuals.
Exactly.
Well, like we keep saying, that's all something that you have to see in person, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean,
especially art.
Yeah, all of it, and like you were saying too. I mean, a lot of the things too. I wouldn't think of what goes into it until you get to talk to someone about it, and then you realize how much work actually went into that.
Yes.
Well, and it's not even how much work. I'm not trying to, guilt people into buying or anything. I just want them to understand the process because, as Josh says, he's never thought of how a bead is made.
People don't realize what goes into it. So
Exactly.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It really is cool. Like it.
Well, there used to be a show on TV, How It's Made.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch that? I
Yeah.
loved that show. It was great because there's so many things that, common everyday things that you have no idea how they're made until you see the process. So that's what I like to do at our store.
I do firewood at home, and I got one load of firewood, and I ended up getting some nice live edge slabs in there.
Oh,
and
nice,
I
yeah.
always seen them, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna make myself like a little coffee table. And then when I actually started doing it, and the time that I put into it, and then you start getting picky. At the end, you love it, but then I realized I was like, this
40
isn't
hours
easy.
work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's nice. See, I'm glad everybody has their creative urges and, see beauty in different things. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
nice.
I had fun. Got a little frustrated at times, but I mean, it was an experience.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and if you're doing 20, let me know.
Oh,
You could bring them into the store.
I mean, I don't think I'll be getting on that scale anytime soon. I have too many hobbies, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I won't do it again, but I mean, by the time that you're done, like, I appreciated it too much. I ended up giving it as a gift to my grandfather, but it was fun.
Yeah, I like that story. Thanks.
So are you looking forward to anything in the future?
The winter season's coming, and the Harvest Festival and
Oh, yes.
the Moonlight Magic and the Tractor Parade of Lights and all that sort of thing. So all those things are lots of fun. It brings the community downtown and high energy, and there's music and all that sort of thing. So I do enjoy all the events that the town of Orangeville puts on and the BIA put on. They're great.
That's good because, I mean, it is important to support local. And, I mean, that's the way to do it is get people down there, give them a reason to be there,
Yeah.
make them happy to be there.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I think no one really, appreciates Broadway and all the local shops on there until you're actually walking down it.
I know. You go down and you look at all the old cars or something like that, and you suddenly go, oh, this is a pretty nice place. You look around.
If you're going to walk anywhere in town, Broadway's one of the top places. Like, really. Like, never mind the scenery, you can get something good in there, while you're walking down the street as well. Like, there's a
Nice.
reason to be there.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan for after you leave the company? And
It's really hard to know. I would love it to continue, and after I want to retire, I'm not sure when that's going to be. I joke that I'm going to be literally carried out feet first. But once that happens, I'm sure there'll be some young artist who's willing to take on the job.
You have big shoes to fill.
Thanks. Yeah, but I'm sure that it will continue. I think it's well needed by the people who want to make art and the people who want to appreciate art.
It's too important to let go. I mean, you're a key component of it, but I mean, it would be truly a disaster, I think, for the art community and for Dufferin in general if it was to shut down after you left. I mean, you put in a lot of work into it, and I mean, as it sounds, like you would like to see it continue.
Absolutely.
Because that's part of the reason why you built it was to help the community.
To be honest, Josh, I feel that every community our size should have a place like Dragonfly
After being there, I agree.
to support their local artists and to support just art in general in the community. It's so important.
It is.
That's why I believe that, there'll be probably a handful of people ready to
You'll be fighting for it. You'll be
to support that.
We'll have an auction.
Yeah.
That'd be not a bad idea.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
The biggest piece of art to offer.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time.
I mean, for anyone listening that wants to see some cool pieces of art, get yourself something nice, jewelry, painting, you really have to go down and check this place out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I want to be clear on this. You're able to, like, get people in touch with artists for commission work as well, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's not something easy to find. You're going to get a reputable artist, probably somebody local, and that money's going to stay in our community.
Sounds great.
That's great. Thank you so much. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Dufferin Spotlight on Business, and I hope you enjoyed it. Big thanks to Joan for taking the time to help us out with her show, and to those of you who listened. Again, Dragonfly Arts can be found at 189 Broadway in Orangeville. They have a Facebook page and website too, dragonflyarts.ca. But seriously, the best thing to do is to go in. And Saturdays are one of the best days to go in too. Anyways, if you would like to learn more about the people and businesses who make Dufferin what it is, be sure to check back every Tuesday for new episodes. The easiest way to do this is to follow or subscribe to our show wherever you prefer to listen. We are currently available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. Of course, you can find all of our episodes and more on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. If there is anywhere else you would like to see us, please let us know through our website and we'll do our best to get on it. If you haven't had a chance to check out our episode from last week, it was with Shelly Wishart and Taylor Copeland of Go Yoga. If you are even slightly curious about yoga or meditation, this is a place to check out, as it is one of the most relaxing places to do it. I can say that with confidence, as I have taken a few classes there myself. It's a good one, so hope you enjoy listening. Until next time, get to know your community and shop local.